Hello everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of Kerbal Space Program. In the last episode we built a ship that didn't look very sensible, and then we had some questions about how it was going to work, and so we tested those. And as a result, we don't totally know how it's going to work still. But we have at least some slightly better ideas. Let's grab this. Yeah. So one thing we learned is that if we want to, we can use a Rockomax thing here. And likewise, we could use one in the upper stage as well. Which seems good, right? We had one we wanted to use. This Terrier is okay, but Skipper seemed a lot better for... It just produces a lot more thrust. But then again, maybe that doesn't really matter. Maybe the bottom is where we want one of these to burn through this fuel a bit more quickly. I don't know. I think this will be fine. I think this is just a slightly larger version of what we launched before, and like with added parachutes. So, first stage launch. Oh, hang on. I want this to fire at the same time, so it can provide some vectoring. Wait, these guys don't vector at all, do they? This, what is this? A thumper, I think. Yeah, thumper. Yeah, I don't see any gimbaling on this. Okay. Get out of here. Fine. So we want this on a little bit to provide direction to the launch. And then we want to decouple these guys and turn on their parachutes, but we want their parachutes to be like only activated in relatively high up, or relatively low, that is, far away from when we drop them, hopefully. Like 1,300 meters, half an atmosphere, maybe even more than half, let's say 0.75. We want them to fire quite late, to make sure they don't fire while they are still close to the ship. So I think actually it's adjusting this that is going to make sure we don't collide with them. Because when you arm the parachutes, they sort of, as long as they're past this, they deploy partially. And then when they get to here, they deploy fully. So we want this all the way up, and this we don't really have to mess with. I hope. We've got these strutted together. Fine. Okay, and staging. We knock these guys out and their parachutes. This happens at the same time as all of this. Yeah, we let go of the thing, and we fire both kinds of engines. Then we drop the side engines, then we drop the lower stage. Then we activate the upper stage, and then when we're ready, we decouple the upper stage here. And fly home with just the command module and stuff like that. Okay. Do we still have a thermometer on here, or did we end up taking that off? We do have a thermometer. Very cute. Okay. So this looks pretty alright. And part of what we're testing here is that a single parachute is enough to bring home this science bay. Which I think it is. What is this set to? I don't know, let's put it like there, 1/4 of an atmosphere or something. And 1,000 feet. Seems fine. Okay, so let's give this a try with actually launching this for a change instead of just looking at it. What are our contracts? Go to the moon and test out... Whoa. This is very precarious. Yeah, we need to hang on to it a bit closer to the center, I think, and also with a few more of those structural girder thingies hanging on, whatever they are. hanging on to the top of the rocket is no longer a sufficient solution now that the rocket is so heavy. So let's grab this, put on 3 of them, and attach them like this, maybe? Sure. And now, just to be... let's rotate the whole thing. Whoa, not like that. So right now, up is north. So I want to roll counterclockwise, which is Q. Now I believe up should be east, from the point of view of this thing. Put it down. Yes. Okay. And that tells me that, I don't know. Who knows? Okay, let's try this again. Go launch, and see which way it's facing. Did I get this right at all? Okay, it looks reasonably stable this time, at least, on the launch pad. Our heading is 0 degrees, which is like north, so that doesn't seem quite right to me. Let's... we don't need to adjust the thrust limiter, we can just throttle to like this much. Yeah, I think our heading 0 degrees, I believe that's north. So we're pointed north right now, which means we want to yaw right in order to do our equatorial turn. Okay. I'm not 100% confident in this, but we'll give it a launch and see how she goes. In 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, SAS turn. Yeah. Forgot that. That's important. Sort of. Oh yeah, this is turning quite nicely. We don't even really need that much thrust. I'm actually starting to worry we might be going too fast. What's our trajectory? Looks fine. Turn a bit more. Alright, let go of those guys. And throttle the rest of the way up. Well, I don't think the parachutes are going to save them. What are we looking like? 34? Okay, let's try to look a bit like that, maybe? How are we doing? Getting up there, and we still have a lot of fuel left. Maybe, like, be pitched over pretty far, but still not totally horizontal. Yeah, we're still raising apoapsis. Should easily get to 80 with this amount of fuel. Thinks we're in orbit, that's good. This seems fine. And we have brought up a larger orbiting stage. Cut the thrusters. So we're getting up to 83. Yeah. So let's just wait until we're out of the atmosphere and then fire off the rest of this to get us into a reasonable looking orbit. And we'll see if we can use the upper stage to get us in the vicinity of the moon, just to go have a look. I'm not sure how what our orbital inclination is, if we're going to have to fix that, or if we stayed mostly equatorial. It looks okay. It looks pretty close to 90, actually. 96 degrees, I believe that means that's where we're going. Alright, Jeb, would you please get us to prograde? What a guy, look at him go. Okay. And we are not yet at apoapsis. And we're not really close yet either. So let's wait until we're a bit closer before we fire off the rest of this stage. Isn't it majestic? Yeah. How much fuel do we have? Like 15-20% of the tank left? That's not bad. Let's go ahead and fire the rest of it now. Jeb, just keep us pointed prograde, please. Yeah, we might be able to get into a proper orbit with just this lower stage. No, I guess not. We ran out of fuel. But we managed to keep quite a bit. Let's just fire this and go. Finish getting into orbit. Stop dragging all that dead weight around. Yeah, we burned late, so we're well past apoapsis, and this is not as effective as it could be. But we have a lot of fuel, so we should be able to do this. Yeah? Stop adjusting to prograde. Go back to, like, stability assist mode, Jeb. Just keep us going where we are now. Okay, there's our periapsis appearing. Getting pretty circular. 50. Wow, our apoapsis is getting way up there. Oh, I see. We made it most of the way around the world before we finished this burn. So let's aim a bit more towards the sky here? Or is it too late? Okay. So this is a bit of an eccentric orbit, but not too bad. Right? And our periapsis is now above 70 kilometers, so we shouldn't dip into the atmosphere ever. Let's just warp a bit to confirm that. Go past it and make sure that the apoapsis doesn't change from ending with 69. Okay, good. Fine. So now what we want to do, if we want to go visit the moon, is... can I, like... I want to set that as the target or something, so I can tell how my orbit's eccentricity is. But that doesn't seem like it's going to work too well. So what we want to do is next time we get around to periapsis, we want to point up from the perspective that we're looking now and burn a little bit to regularize our orbit. Are we, like, low on electricity or anything? No, we're not. We have plenty. So I think what we'll do is just sort of warp all the way around this orbit. And there's the moon. I don't know exactly how good a job we're going to do at intercepting it, but we'll give it a try. What I really should do, actually... Hang on. Time warp back to 1? What I should do is circularize my orbit. Should I? On the one hand, it would be nice to have a circular orbit, because then I could extend it in any direction equally easily. Which would make it easier to point myself at the moon, so to speak. I seem to recall that, like, you want to be about 90 degrees offset. So, like, the moon is here, but if I were to extend my orbit in just that direction, it would have moved by the time I catch it. So you want to be about 90 degrees offset. So if it's here, I want to aim, like, here and meet it when... is how I recall this working out. So that means that our current orbit is a bit silly. I'm not sure how exactly that happened. How did we get so eccentric? We did a lot of burning at what started as our apoapsis, but became our periapsis because we spent so long screwing around, I guess. Yeah, I guess something like that is what happened. So we could, when we get back around to periapsis, we could lower this, and then do a few trips around. Then regularize, and then do a few trips around and decide when to aim at the moon, basically, is the plan, I think. So let's try that, I think. I think it's a good idea to regularize the orbit to something more reasonable, like 70,000 instead of 700,000 meters. But you know what? Just in case I get everything wrong, let's go ahead and do our science now, so we have something from high orbit to... Okay, oh, yeah, he knew that. Great. Let's go on EVA. Does an EVA report still get us anything out here? No, it doesn't. Alright, well, whatever. Get back in, you jerk. And we didn't bring any mystery goo. But we do have a thermometer on here somewhere, right? There it is. Temperature of space is quite impossible. There's no matter which is hot or cold. Great. Okay. And let's try the little science toy here. It's still worth a fair bit of science. Nothing spectacular, but something. Okay. So that was that all done. And now let's continue with the plan of adjusting orbit at periapsis. What is our altitude now? Alright, we're getting pretty close now. So, Jeb, will you please take us to retrograde? Oh, that was easy. And, we're gonna try burning here. Wow, we are just barely out of the atmosphere on this. I'm worried if we burn retrograde here, we may actually come crashing back into the atmosphere. We can adjust that when we get to the other side, I guess. If that does happen. We shouldn't come back in on this go-round. And if we do lower this end too much, we can adjust it once we're back at the other end. Alright, it appears that I have, a bit earlier than necessary, come out of time warp. How about like here? That's reasonably close to apoapsis. And we will just throttle up a little. What is this doing? Our periapsis is now... cut the engines. Maybe this was a little too soon. Our periapsis has come down to 69. Yeah. Maybe I'll wait till we're a bit closer to it. Is our periapsis going to be falling at all? Stop the time warp. Okay, we have now fallen just barely into the atmosphere. Space music has stopped. Let's throttle up a little bit. And this is just barely lowering our periapsis. Nothing to worry about at all. We can easily fix this on the other end. Keep an eye on the fuel. We have a lot. Let's throttle all the way up. Lowering it to like, we're looking for about 100,000, I think. 200. Nah, we'll go for the full 100. Alright, stop. That'll do. And we lowered our periapsis by 1 kilometer. No problem. Uh-huh. So let's coast around to the other side. I guess we are still sort of within the atmosphere, but we're on our way back up. We just bounced a little bit there. Okay. Can we now get a real-time warp, please? A non-atmospheric one? We're not using up, like, electricity on this, right? Okay. Just checking. And, oh, Jeb, you can switch to... Well, slow down, slow down, slow down. Jeb, please switch to prograde for me? And we'll do a pretty short burn. That should be fine. Not perfectly round, but good enough. And the next thing to do is... Do we need to regularize our orbit at all? It's not too eccentric. We might be able to get to the vicinity of the moon without messing with it. But it could be good practice. Do we have enough fuel to mess around? Yeah, we do. It shouldn't cost too much to reorient, and it'll be good practice. So where exactly is the equator? It's a bit hard to tell. But we want, I think when we get to about here, to burn, Jeb, forget, you can let go of the SAS. About here, we want to burn pointing up? And I'm not sure which direction is, like, how to use the nav ball to get us pointing what is vertically up from this perspective. How could I tell that? Yeah, we want it to be about here, I think. Is there some way that I can, This is for showing me, like, other stuff. How can I orient myself better? I gotta, like, let's look up how to use the nav ball a little bit, I guess. Flight interface, the nav ball. Okay, on the nav ball, we'll see a range of things. So, are these always on? Can I just check out what's my normal and my anti-normal? On the nav ball somewhere? We're looking for these purple ones, I guess? Something purple. Yeah, that's something. But stability assist, okay. So which one is this? I'm not sure. Let's zoom into the ship and see which way we're facing. Well, the way we're facing looks up from this perspective, but that doesn't tell me much. I think this is right, but I kind of want some... like, geographical points of reference. So if we're pointing up, we should see to our left this kind of bay that we're leaving, right? And we do. Okay. So this is the direction we want to burn. This pink triangle without a weird thing in it. And let's confirm that at the opposite end of the nav ball, there's a pink triangle with a weird thing in it. So that's our that's apoapsis? I don't know, it's something. Oh, and this must be... yeah, that's if we wanted to fire straight towards the planet, like that. We just drifted past that. Okay. And so this one must be, I think, the... this is the other version of normal. We're now pointing downwards. I guess. How does that work? We were pointing up, and we started a rotation that I guess was pointing us towards the planet. Yeah, now this is like away. Alright, cool. So I'm not actually touching the controls here. I'm just letting the ship spin until we get back to the direction we want to be in. No need to hurry things. this tumble is perfectly fine since it's a planned. And then once we get back here, we'll just flip on the SAS and tell Jeb to keep us there. Boop. Good work, Jeb. Okay. So we decided that over about here is where we want to do a burn. So let's accelerate time a bit. We can turn off SAS while we're time warping. And yeah, right about there. I still don't know what this means. But we're pointed in still the right direction, right? Yeah, just about. And let's just try a quick little burn here, which I think should bring this end up, is the idea? Yeah. And this end is going down. Okay. That brings us into a flatter orbit. We still have plenty of fuel left to try to get to the moon with. Cool, so we've achieved a circular orbit with a periapsis well out of the atmosphere. And now we are free to aim at the moon whenever we want. How exactly we do that? I'm not sure. It would be nice to have maneuver nodes that I could just like pull out and basically let Jeb take care of figuring that out for me. But at some point, we're going to want to burn prograde until we get out there. And it seems like super far away, but actually just like burning near your periapsis, you get a pretty big gravitational slingshot, and you don't have to like power yourself the whole way here. You just have to slingshot around the planet. So we are now traveling which direction? We're going counterclockwise, although viewed from the bottom, of course, it's clockwise, right? I don't know. But we're in an orbit that looks great. It is just the same plane as the moon's orbit, or pretty close to it anyway. We're going like this. And when we're like 90 degrees... I kind of remember a long time ago, before there were maneuver nodes or much of anything, a way that you could get to the moon that I saw people on YouTube do was like you point prograde and like when your rocket is pointing straight at where the moon is, you burn, which has the effect of extending your orbit like 90 degrees left of you, right? So let's say we were here already, we would burn, and that would extend our orbit in this direction, and that would give us enough travel time to catch up to the moon, is my recollection. So we're actually sort of coming up on that point now. This is our apoapsis, but it's pretty close to our periapsis, really. It's not a big deal. And, oh yeah, turn off time warp. Yeah, are we like, let's get into the ship. Jeb, will you please point us prograde? Yeah, there's the moon, pretty much right in front of us. I think I'd like to wait a little bit longer till I'm willing to call this 90 degrees. How about now? Yeah, we're pointed pretty much at the moon. Okay. So let's go ahead and try a burn here. I'm not sure we have enough fuel to get there, but maybe we do. Let's see how fast the apoapsis goes up as compared to our fuel. We brought a lot this time. And there's our orbit. It's widening, and it sort of starts to widen more and more quickly as you get further away. So while it doesn't look like we have enough fuel, this is not a linear process. Yeah, see, it's starting to speed up now. And I think we should have enough fuel to finish this, and even to probably get us to crash when, or to land on the, hopefully not crash, but to land back at home when we're done. Yeah, see, look, it's expanding quite quickly now. We're almost done with this burn. And stop. Maybe a bit more. Ah, stop. That was a bit too much. But as you can see, we have achieved an orbit that gets us in the general vicinity of the moon eventually, or the moon's orbit anyway. And as for fuel, we have enough that we should be able to maybe not recircularize our orbit, but while we're at the moon, we can do a burn that will lower our periapsis at Kerbin, and therefore bring us back into the atmosphere. We'll be going quite quickly, though. Much more quickly than we've been going on our previous trips, I think. We'll be going like about this fast, right? 3,000 meters per second, where previously the fastest we'd gone was 2,000 something. Okay, well, you know what? This has been about half an hour, and I know it was all just one flight, but I think this is a good time to take a break, and we look forward to our near-moon encounter. Maybe we won't get close enough, maybe we will, but at any rate, we're doing some of the right things, and I look forward to seeing how this mission turns out. I hope you guys will join me for that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.